That's it. Just my name and I gotta go call the lady. I'll be back.
How do I adjust the fucking quality? Who? Oh my god. I'm freaking out. Oh my god, my mouth is so amazingly dry. Six. No, don't tell me this. Bullshit.
Sorry, guys, you're too let people know, since I'm getting enough people asking. Yes. Since masturbation. That's it. It didn't even scratch it, just put paint on the side of the car.
And it wasn't Jeff's fault at all. You're a witness. He don't have a witness. Yeah, you don't have a witness. You are a witness.
He came over in my lane.
Yeah. I was worried about you whooping his ass. Megan thought about you though, dude. Megan's like,
Boy was in the car and I was like, look, check it out. Everything looks like you got to call the cops.
Hey, Jeff. Jesus wants his shirts. He wants his shirts.
Who?
Jesus. He told me to pick up a medium and a small for the How You Doobie shirts.
Okay.
How do I go get those?
Adam?
Okay, yeah. I'll do it after.
R2D2, I love it.
well, how you doing, young man? Top Andy. Feel like I know you already for the next You need to see it over there in the corner. He's moved over to the corner. He's moved over to the corner. I can sit by her. Yeah. You don't have
Room set up. Yep, looks like it.
Cool.
That's great. So it's already broadcasting?
Oh. Shameless plug. Just saying,
Oh, better yet. Kyle was there so I could play him earlier.
I know the week before you were saying I didn't do very good.
Last night I didn't do too bad. Last night I didn't do too bad. Thanks, please. Live over in Gilson, right? Yeah. I live just next door in the Dallas. Yeah, exactly. I'm midway.
It was so
I haven't really made
well.
women over there that are close. got all out of focus and funky. Get a ball on the
We're going to get started at about 4:20, everybody, so just be patient. It's almost 4:20. You got to wait for the proper time. 5 minutes.
That smells good coming from somewhere. I was watching Treasure
Hey, Megan, could you capture the camera? I'm sorry.
Hold on.
There you go. What's that?
That's perfect.
Sorry, did I get the?
Good.
Yeah, I don't want it on it. I don't want in it any more than I have.
Then you should move back to where they are.
I'm not seeing it all in here.
I think I might have There's an unusual smell. It's an unusual software.
Check, 1, 2. Can you hear me, Dallas? Hello, are you out there, DFW NORML? Howdy doobie, DFW NORML. Are you out there? That's more like it. That's what I'm used to hearing. Welcome one, welcome all to our August meeting here in Dallas. This is our first time at Sundown at Granada. What do you guys think of the venue so far? Yeah? Pretty awesome. I like it so far. Please, let's make sure that we're invited back. Let's be really awesome to the bar staff. Let's make sure we do anything that they ask of us. Let's help keep the bar fairly clean. We don't want to leave a mess. You know, this is a really cool place. Let's keep it cool. And let's make sure we can come back. All right? Cool. All right. Well, we've got several different things that we're going to cover today. The first of which, how many people were at our meeting last month? Did you make some noise? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So last month we did something a little different for us. We actually had a panel at our meeting, and it included Representative Marissa Marquez. How many people know who that is? fair number of you. For those of you who don't know, Representative Marquez is an awesome woman from El Paso who actually was the one who introduced our whole plant medical marijuana bill this session. Very, very courageously, I might add. She came all the way from El Paso to be at our event, specifically to be at our event, at our Texas Marijuana Policy Panel. And it was awesome, guys. Let's give a hand for Representative Marquez for coming out. To date, she is the first and only representative that has come out to our events officially. We actually had Jonathan Stickland at a lobbyist training event a couple of years ago that we couldn't talk about until like it was declassified, I guess, or something. But now, you know, all these politicians, more and more, they're starting to come out in support of this, especially now that the session is over. Have you noticed that? Like all of a sudden, it's cools. Well, you want to know why it's cools now? We're a medical marijuana state in Texas now. Did you know that? It's not a good law. And it's pretty bad, actually. But it's better than no law, I think. Would you agree? Yeah! Would you agree that it's a pretty damn good starting point to know that we're going to be growing legal marijuana in the state of Texas and it's going to end up in the hands of patients at some point? Yeah! Now, granted, it's not going to be that perfect system that probably we'll all slightly disagree on, you know, tax and not, or like tomatoes, or like alcohol, whatever. The simple fact is, Texas did not acknowledge medical marijuana until this legislative session. Now we do, and the governor actually had a hand in that. Guys, that is huge. Please give the state of Texas a hand. We are a medical marijuana state. And even though we didn't get that whole plant medical marijuana bill that so many of us were really hoping for, it's a damn fine start. This medicine is going to be able to be available to a small percentage of people who need it and can benefit from it. But beyond what is legally going to be allowed from this law, one of the things that I think I'm really excited about is now that people are going to be growing some marijuana over here, it's going to be a lot harder to determine whether or not this marijuana over there is not this. It's going to be a lot harder for police officers to be harassing you, I think, over your medical marijuana consumption because we're a medical marijuana state. Yes, the law is not perfect, but yes, medical marijuana is a law of this land now, and the police are going to understand it. And the more that we're able to adopt this CBD law, the more that we're able to expand this culture from this great starting point, I think that it's going to position Texas to be one of the best medical states in the entire country. And beyond that, it'll make sure that when legalization does come, or the repeal of prohibition does come to this state, we're not going to do it half-assed, we're going to do it right. Are you with me? Yeah. It's pretty exciting, actually. I keep thinking back to as recently as a couple of years ago when people kept telling me that Texas was going to be last. Nuh-uh. Not anymore. Not now. Certainly not now. And it's such a wonderful feeling to know that we as a culture, this grassroots movement, have been able to come out of this cannabis closet together. You know, the strength in numbers, that's the real thing. The strength in numbers coming out of this closet together and letting the people around us, of our communities, the people who make our laws, know that we're really not so bad. It's really not all like dazed and confused. It's really not what the stereotype is most of the time. Now, I'm sure every single one of you has that friend who's like the dude from Half-Baked, like, yeah, man. And if you're not trying to coach that person to be a better representative of this culture, then that's on you. Because you're hanging out with that guy or lady. And if you're not the one that's trying to lead by example in your small little community of tokers or non-tokers, people who are on probation and wish they were toking and they're still hanging with you and they just kind of want to hang and just smell it maybe. But if you're able to be that one that they kind of look up to because of the way that you handle yourself with dignity and come from an educated perspective on this topic that we're all here and passionate about, they're going to take notice. Your friends will take notice. Your family will take notice. Your coworkers will take notice. The people around you will take notice because they will see that you're taking this very seriously. It's not just something that you go duck out on the patio and do and come back and you smell fragrant stuff. Although it is that. You know, one of my favorite quotes. How many people know who Keith Stroup is? Make some noise if you know who Keith Stroup is. Keith Stroup is a man, personal hero of many of the people here, who founded National NORML in 1970. Back way before it was cool to be a marijuana law reformer. In fact, you were pretty much just chastised and hated on constantly for it at that time. And this man, he gave me this quote probably the first time I met him in 2012, and it has stuck with me forever. And I think it really represents this culture in a way. And I'm going to paraphrase. But he said, you know, the people against us, they think that all marijuana law reformers do is, you know, sit around and talk about changing the law and smoke a lot of weed. And he said that's true. But we also sometimes stand. And yeah, it's okay, you can clap. It's perfect because to me, it doesn't matter whatever they think it is that we're doing, they don't have the right idea. And so we can be the ambassador of change, that brand ambassador that says, look, we're not the dazed and confused stereotype. We're not the cartoon character that you're imagining, and we're not that dumbass that you don't want your teenage son hanging out with in high school. We're not any of those things. And if we can do that, and we can change these hearts and minds around us in our immediate circles, we're having fewer and fewer people that are lining up to argue against us. I mean, now that we're a medical marijuana state, how many people are you thinking are gonna want to argue about the validity of medical marijuana? All these conservative people who, as soon as, because I promise you, they don't know yet. Not all of them know that we're a medical marijuana state yet. And as soon as you hit them with that little piece of info, guess what it's going to do? It's going to wreck their argument. Oh, really? That happened? Oh, I guess I really don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And when that moment occurs, they are right for you to be that educated, calm, dignified person who has something meaningful to say about your favorite plant, or maybe just the relevancy of changing the laws, because all of a sudden they can see where you're coming from. They see that it's not what they thought, and you're helping them to see that. It's not enough for me or for David Sloan or any of the people that you associate DFW NORML or NORML or Drug Policy Alliance or Marijuana Policy Project. It's not enough for those people that you think of as that A squad of people that are always on TV to be the ones doing all the heavy lifting. It's not. Because they only get so many opportunities to be in front of a camera. You have an opportunity every day. You go to the post office, or you go to 7-Eleven, or you go anywhere, and you're wearing that marijuana leaf shirt, or you're wearing that NORML shirt, or you're like me and you wear your lanyard, tons of pins all over it, and people can't help but notice that you kind of are probably into marijuana. And right then and there, they become a little less shy. They become a little less nervous, a little less afraid. Because marijuana has always been part of the Texas culture. Whether people want to acknowledge it or not, it's always been prevalent, it's always been there. The problem is, Texans have had a really tough time knowing which of their neighbors are cool and which ones aren't. And so we all kind of put up this wall to keep ourselves safe and to isolate ourselves so we can still use this plant safely and still be what others consider productive members of society. Would you agree with that? Yeah. But it's not enough to just hide in that closet. It's not enough, in my opinion, and I imagine in your opinion, for people to just be able to continue to get away with it in this state, is it? No. It's not enough because, quite frankly, I don't need to come and host these meetings if I'm trying to change marijuana policy for me. Because guess what? I am so unlikely to be stopped and arrested for marijuana. It should be criminal. White guy, glasses, facial hair, Honda, driving the speed limit. I might as well be invisible to a predator that is the police, because that's what they are. They're what's known as visual predators. They're looking for a reason to pull you over. Not that police are bad, but they are looking for a reason to stop you, to charge you with an infraction. And so if you aren't that person that's out there being the dumbass getting caught, and instead inspiring some sort of positive change, it's going to take us a lot further than any number of Facebook likes or posts or whatever. Watch this video, sign this petition. I don't care. Just do something and stand up and be heard. Are you with me, Texas? Good, good. All right, next item of business. I almost said business. Excuse me. When I start talking jive, I need a drink. So, how many people have heard of the Dallas Marijuana March? Yeah. Better yet, how many people were at the Dallas Marijuana March last year? About half, maybe. Last year was the first time we actually did this particular event. We've marched in Dallas before. We've assembled in Dallas before. We've been doing it for years, actually, since way longer than I've been involved in marijuana law reform. Every year, Dallas-Fort Worth NORML would host the Global Marijuana March in Dallas, and it was at City Hall. Some of you may have even been to it back when 25 people used to show up to these things, Larry. My first march, there was less than 100 people there. Actually, probably less than 75 people there. But it didn't matter. We were there, damn it. But every year, that event has grown. And eventually, we moved the Global Marijuana March, which happens the first Saturday in May, to Fort Worth because we found a great spot. But there was this vacant hole because we're DFW NORML, and a lot of people in Dallas kind of felt like there was way too much going on in Fort Worth and Arlington and not in Dallas. And that was a fair criticism at the time. So the Dallas Marijuana March was born. And it was the first time that we had worked so openly with the city of Dallas and the Dallas Police Department, the special events, and the tactical unit. We had probably, David, what do you think, a dozen police officers out there that we paid, and then maybe 8 more that we weren't paying. 6 cruisers, building security at Dallas City Hall with this woman named Lieutenant Mayfield, which if she's watching, hi Lieutenant Mayfield. This woman is probably one of the toughest screws to walk a turn in the Dallas Police Department, my friends. She was borderline hostile the morning of the Dallas Marijuana March when she shook my hand and went over my paperwork. By the end of that event, she gave us a high five and said, "Great event, guys. Good job. You're welcome back anytime." That is what the Dallas Marijuana March did last year. And this year, I want it to be even bigger. This year, we're not going to be at Dallas City Hall. Unfortunately, I did not get the go-ahead from Corporal Hopkins from Dallas Police Department to tell you where we're going to have the Dallas Marijuana March this year. Suffice it to say, we've been there before as DFW NORML, and we've never actually had permission to be there before. And we asked for it, and guess what happened? They didn't say no instantly, which is pretty promising. They said, "Hey, all right, come in a couple of weeks and we'll talk about it." And so here in the next couple of weeks, actually, hopefully by Tuesday, we'll be able to announce where we're going to have this event. It's a historic place. I don't want to give you too many hints. Back and to the left comes to mind. But I don't want to say anything more than that. I don't want it to be too obvious. But the point is, this is a very busy part of Dallas. It is a part of Dallas that will definitely be able to be seen from the highways. It's a part of Dallas that many people will have no freaking choice but to drive through. And we're going to be there. And I'm hoping for, last year the news incorrectly reported around 4,500 attendees. I wish we had that many. It wasn't that many. It was more like 3,000 or so. But I'm hoping for double that. And the way we're going to achieve that is by advertising this event in an unconventional way for marijuana in Texas. So last year we had a billboard, which was great. How many people even saw the billboard that we had for the marijuana march? It was good. It was a Texas flag with a leaf and a fist on it. It got us on several news stations. There was some pissed off phone calls. There was a lot of hubbub about it, okay? But billboards are obviously, as you know, not cheap. And so, and they don't really move very well. They're kind of stationary. And so, it's cool, but, we kind of started thinking, what could we do to reach even more people? Because even a billboard that costs $2,000, you're only guaranteed what's known as impressions. And that's like people over the age of 18 driving by your billboard. And so we were guaranteed, 1 million impressions or so. Well, what could be bigger than that? television commercial? So, okay, television commercial. All right. Where could we put a commercial that would get a lot of people talking and maybe even piss some people off? Fox News? Did I hear Fox News?
NBC.
NBC, they're very friendly, actually. If you didn't know that, I actually work for the news station, NBC. I don't do anything important, but I work for the news station. And one thing that I've noticed is the people that work there are definitely not anti-marijuana. And so what that tells me is that we need to do a better job at reaching the news media with what it is we consider our story to be. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So our story, we need to figure out what it is our story is that we want to tell in this commercial that could be on Fox News that would undoubtedly piss a lot of people off. And so, okay, where does that money come from? That's, I mean, easily. If you've never priced a commercial on a major network, let me ballpark it for you. If you don't have at least $2,000 to spend, don't even call. Don't even call. So we're looking at a minimum of $2,000 to advertise this event. Okay. So if we spend $2,000 on a TV commercial that gets seen by millions of people, that becomes a viral video because it's Texas's first Fox marijuana commercial, whatever we frame it as, you know, it just needs that headline that people can kind of digest it and understand it. Texas's first commercial, blah, 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 on Fox. And I promise you, all the people who, even if they don't support this, they're going to recognize what we're doing there, how tongue-in-cheek that is, how, ooh, that's kind of unexpected. And so where does that money come from? You know, if we had a benefactor, we would just say, hey, Mr. Benefactor, this is what we want to do. Will you cut us this check, and we're going to go do it. I've been at this since 2011. We still don't have a benefactor. So it's not that easy, unfortunately. So we got to get creative in raising funds. So the idea was suggested that we have a retro video game tournament, because so many times every one of us has been told that video games are not going to win us anything in life, right? Bullshit. Our tournament, it could win you a $500 piece of glass that you can buy anywhere in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And all you got to do is enter for $20. Our tournament, you don't even have to be good to win. We have a prize for the worst player.
I'm going to win that.
We actually have 8 prizes at our event. So it's not too bad of odds. Are you familiar with the Nintendo 64 game unit? Anybody? Make some noise if you've heard of it. It came out in the 90s, so, you know, retro. We call that retro-ish. But it's one of those things that a lot of people haven't touched in 10, 15 years. And so it's a pretty level playing field for a lot of people. Because I can remember, I used to be damn good at GoldenEye. But after years of playing Xbox and PlayStation, I feel really stupid playing GoldenEye now. But it's a unique and different type of fundraiser for us. Actually, here we go. N6420 tournament is what we're calling it. That's pretty clever, huh? I think that's a pun. Prizes include water pipes, oil rigs, vaporizers. With this particular video game tournament, there's 3 games being played. There's Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros., and either GoldenEye or Perfect Dark. And for a lot of you, if you're not a gamer, you don't know anything what I just said. For those of you who are gamers, your spidey sense just started tingling a little bit, because those are some of the big ones that people remember playing. 3 games, there's a prize for the winner of each game. So it's not like a first, second, and third type of deal. The winner of each game wins a prize. You also have a prize for the worst player. You also have a prize for the oldest participant, the most creative gamer name, and then I think, best overall. Best overall, the overall winner, okay? We're talking about glass, $500 glass, guys. Vaporizers, stuff that would easily cost you 5 times what the entry fee for the video game tournament would be. And for those of you who have a little bit of extra money laying around, remember this is a fundraiser for a commercial. So the idea is to see how much money we can raise. So if you're able to donate $50 to participate, you're going to get food, you're going to get fed at the event, you're going to get a shirt, a little prize pack, and some gamer perks that I'm not going to tell you right now, because if you're not a gamer, you're not going to get it. But if you're a gamer, you know what I mean by perks. There will be perks. And the beautiful part about this VIP ticket, the VIPs actually get to determine what our third game is. So it's either GoldenEye or Perfect Dark, but the VIPs are going to decide. And so kind of incentive to spend a little money to pick the game that you know you're good at, right? But we've never done a video game tournament before. I kind of felt like, why not give it a try? Why not do something air-conditioned for one in the summertime, right? Because, Jesus, it's hot. But two, why not do something a little unconventional and fun? And so if you notice on this little poster, which we have available if you want to take one and put one up in your local smoke shop, grow shop, or video game shop, there's actually not a marijuana leaf to be found on this. And that was a very deliberate choice, because what we want to try to do is see how many places we can get these things put up in. Because let's do some quick math here, people. If 25 people at $20 a piece register and we got 10 VIPs, I mean, we're more than halfway toward our commercial off of a silly video game tournament. And so if we're able to actually raise some decent money in an unconventional way, you know, with something like this, what else could we do? That's where your ideas come in. That's where we have this DFW NORML Facebook group, where it's a discussion group, where, you know, if you think that we could be doing something, we may not immediately take your idea and go run with it and implement it, so don't feel bad if we don't, because I get around 100 good ideas sent to me a day, and I don't even read half of them, because, I mean, are you serious? If you're sending me all your good ideas, maybe you should implement them, right? And so our group is about getting together with all these fine people here and finding a way to implement your great idea that's going to help us bring ourselves a little closer to policy in Texas. Are you with me?
Yeah!
Cool.
All right.
So that's our video game tournament. I won't spend too much time talking about that because I'm obviously going to win it. But at the end of the day, at the end of the meeting, we're going to do a quick raffle. We're actually going to raffle off two passes to the video game tournament. So everybody who came gets a raffle ticket for free. And then if you want to buy additional raffle tickets, hey Loretta, how much are we doing raffle tickets for? $1? Yeah, okay, we'll do $1 raffle tickets. So you could potentially win yourself entry to the video game tournament and score yourself something, even if you suck horribly at video games. Do you understand what I'm saying? Even if you are 72 years old and have never played Nintendo in your life, you could win something for $1. Is that tempting? All right. So that's the tournament. All right. Up next, I'd like to touch briefly, since there was some confusion. We will not be showing this cannabis documentary yet. Speaking of Michael Raines, good timing, my good man. We won't be showing this cannabis documentary yet because it just got finished yesterday. But during this past legislative session, a UNT film student named Juan Angelo contacted DFW NORML, myself, and asked us if he could tag along with us through the legislative session and make a documentary about changing marijuana policy in Texas. And he did it. He actually did it. He finished it and got an A on it. And it was pretty good, except for every single name was misspelled in it. And most of the titles were wrong. So obviously we weren't going to put it out like that. He just sent it to me yesterday, and it's done, I hope. I'm going to watch it. But next month, at our monthly meeting, which will be in Fort Worth, we're actually going to screen this 19-minute cannabis documentary that was made about us. That was made about DFW NORML. What is this? Okay. A documentary that was made about us, by us, for us. I'm in it. Jeff's in it. A bunch of people here are in it, either speaking or in the background. Representative David Simpson is in it. Representative Joe Moody is in it. Some of the heavy hitters in Texas marijuana policy are in this documentary. And what it does is tell a really, in my opinion, an honest and emotional story of the uphill battle that we face here. How many people know somebody who is terminally ill right now that could benefit from cannabis medicine? How many people know somebody who is not terminally ill who could benefit from cannabis medicine? I believe collectively everyone in the audience has raised their hand. This documentary, I believe, is going to be one piece of our Texas medical marijuana policy puzzle that's going to get us a little closer. And I invite you all to join us and watch it with us next month. Like I said, I'm in it. My friend Michael Rain. Michael, come up here, please. Our friend Michael Rain is in it as well. He actually has the opening scene in it, which is extremely touching. Would you mind giving my friend Michael a hand? He just drove 2 hours to be here with us. And had dialysis today. So you want to give him one more hand for being here? So Michael was in this documentary with me. Would you like to know the name of it? I think it's pretty cute. Tumbling Weeds. How appropriately Texas, yeah? Especially because the story does follow DFW NORML going to Austin to change the laws. We have to travel to engage in the political process. And do you know what I hope that inspires other people to do next legislative session? Travel to be part of the political process. Austin is not that far. In fact, it's kind of fun. Hey, Caroline, you went to Austin with us, right? Was it fun? Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's kind of thrilling, eh? How many people have been to the Capitol before? Raise your hand. How many people have been to the Capitol not on a tour? How many people have spoken to their rep in the Capitol? By this time next year, I want every single one of you to be able to raise your hand. Even if it doesn't mean going to the Capitol, even if it just means going and visiting them in their legislative office here in town. Because they're there, they work for us, and they want to hear from you, believe it or not. If you're afraid to talk to them, they're never going to give a damn about what you believe in or what you care about. But if you're willing to go and put yourself out there, like many of you do at a singles bar or anywhere else where you're outside of your comfort zone, you'll be surprised what you can accomplish, the minds that you could change. Heck, you could even become friends with your representative and agree on more than just marijuana. How crazy would that be? Jeff here, as recently as a year and a half ago, was not engaged in any sort of political action of any kind. He has now been to the Capitol how many times in the last 12 months? Like six or seven times. Spoken to probably your rep, not just his rep. He goes and sits down with somebody like me who maybe is nervous to go and talk to their rep for the first time. He's willing to go and do that. That's what our leaders here at DFW NORML do, is they want to go with you and empower you for you to bring these representatives onto our side. Because they don't want to be our enemies. This legislative session proved that they want to work with us. 11, 12 bills, depending on how you look at it, relevant to marijuana, guys. That's huge. That's like a derby race, practically. Wherein we've had the last 10, 15 years, the same two lousy bills keep getting submitted year after year, session after session, and they never go anywhere. This year we had 12 bills. One of them passed. Texas is ripe for marijuana law reform, my friends. Are you going to help me change the policy here? Good. Then I'd like to introduce you to one of our guest speakers here today, Michael Rains. As I said, he came 2 hours, had dialysis earlier today, testified alongside myself and many others at the hearings in Austin to try to reform our marijuana laws. Is becoming a known name in the Capitol because he keeps popping up regarding marijuana law reform. Please give it up for our patient, our friend, our volunteer, Michael Rains.
How y'all doing today?
Good.
Well, started at 5 o'clock this morning.
issues I'm dealing with. It's hard for me to get my voice out there because I have one of those voices.
Good.
Hey, Steve, can you come turn this up, please?
Hold on just a second.
Can you turn it up a little bit?
Can you hear me any better now?
Yeah.
Great. How many of y'all believe in this movement that we've got going? How many of you realize that this is more than just our right to sit back and enjoy our relief mechanism however we choose? For a lot of people, this is a life and death issue. I am terminally ill. Everybody probably knows that. And I've been fighting my disease for 8 years. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that within the last year, since I started using cannabis oil instead of all the opioid pain relievers and the seizure medications that they leave you a vegetable sitting in the chair, that's it. I mean, I literally sit and drool on myself. They have me on such high doses to control seizures because when I have a seizure, it's not a little thing. I don't just kind of twitch a little bit. I have a grand mal seizure. I usually wake up in an ICU unit, at the very least, in the ER somewhere. And it generally freaks people out pretty bad when it happens. So for me, this is more than just a volunteer to say my mind. This is an issue at heart, literally. Every other day for the rest of my life, I get to sit in that chair for 5 hours with those needles drilled into my arm, while all my blood is pumped out, filtered, and put back in. The mindset to even get to that chair was hard to explain, much less the feeling of sitting there and knowing that you're never more than 10 days from death. 10 days without treatment, I'm dead. That's a hard thing to deal with. And I don't care how much Zoloft or Ambien or Keppra or whatever else they put you on, it's going to eat at you. And cannabis keeps me sane. It keeps my seizures at bay. And it has cost me. It has cost me dearly. I'm coming out of a horrid divorce based entirely on my activism and my commitment to it. I'm sure she was looking for another reason. I mean, nobody wants to be married to a dying guy, right? But the point is if you believe in activism, you understand that activism takes acts. It takes commitment. It takes allegiance. It takes devotion. And it takes self-sacrifice. And you're going to learn in this campaign, you're going to get a lot more of the latter than the former. Self-sacrifice is what this is about. Being willing to stand up and say, hey, this law is wrong. I don't believe in it. I'm not going to abide by it. And let's change it. When I go down to Austin, it's an event for me. It's a very grueling and traumatic time. Usually the testimony lasts into the early hours of the morning, 2:30, 3:30 in the morning, I've seen them go. Usually I go down after I've done my dialysis in the morning, so I get about a 25-hour day by the time I get home. and I keep going back. I don't just go and testify at the committee hearings. I go to their offices, whether I know them, whether they're in my jurisdiction, whether they're in your jurisdiction. I don't care whose constituent they are. I go in their office and I make them answer to me. I hold my hand out and say, look, I'm dying. This is keeping me alive. What if it was your son, your daughter, that was watching you have a seizure on the floor? Terrified, throwing all the cushions off the couches around you to keep you from hurting yourself. What if it was you? And what if there was one natural organic substance that could stop that in its tracks? What would you do? Would you be here? I am. I guess we'll all see the video at the same time. I haven't seen it yet myself. Is it good? Good. I hope it turns some heads, opens some eyes, changes some minds. For God's sakes, open some hearts. I mean, this is just ludicrous. Look at how much our generation, our children, our parents, look at how much suffering has been endured over this one plant. Read the Bible, Genesis 1:29. It's easy. It's all right there, black and white. And it's in every known English translation around the world. I mean, what greater power do you need to judge by than that? Whether you believe in religion or not, you have to believe in unanimous support around the globe. I mean, for over 10,000 years. Who the heck are we to come along and say, hey, God made a mistake? You know, David Simpson had it right. God didn't make no mistakes. Unless it was believing in us. I'm going to keep coming back, and I'm going to keep doing this. And whenever I'm able, I'll get up here and stand in front of y'all and tell you how I feel, how things are going. But shit, I don't know how things are. There's 2 warrants from my arrest right now over this crowd. I guess that was another risk I took getting here today. And I got a 2-hour risk to get home. I keep calling them and telling them, look, if you want to come get me, come to the house so you don't have to impound my damn truck. Sitting here waiting, that's all I do. I don't know whether I'm waiting more for reform or death. I guess they'll both get here someday. The important thing is I can't do all this alone. I can't do it with just Jeff, just Sean, just Team Alexis. We can't do it without the support and the involvement, the acts from you. No matter how much we try, no matter how much we give, I've never received $1 from anybody except for David Simpson, who paid for a motel the night I went down there and spoke on his bill. Everything else has come out of my pocket. And I'll keep coming back. I'll keep finding ways to make that $780 a month disability I get pay for my trips and my food. And if I can do it with everything that's on top of me, why can't you? Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm David Sloan. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the Public Information Officer here with DFW NORML. I've been a member of NORML since 1984 and got involved actively with DFW NORML, I don't know, about 6 years ago, I think. Where's Carl? When I first got involved with DFW NORML, we were having meetings in my living room. And there was this pioneer board of directors. And I just want to take just a half a second here and recognize Carl. Carl, would you stand up? Carl was one of the early pioneers. He and his wife, Donna, thank you, Carl. We're on the early board of directors. And when we first started DFW NORML, I mean, some of the action was what we could contribute to bake sales and other nonprofits and things like that. We really didn't have our tread into the dirt in terms of, you know, who are we, what are we, where are we going, and all that. And Carl and his wife Donna, God rest her soul, they were such an inspiration to me then. And the inspiration, I guess, really came in terms of the medical issues. People that have smoke marijuana and use concentrates and extracts and things like that. And let's make no mistake, I'm a day walker. I don't claim any medical issues at all whatsoever in terms of cannabis use, even though I could say, you know, yes, it makes me feel better. I could say that and all that, but the truth of the matter is, and it always has been for me, I kind of stand aside from a lot of people. This is a liberty thing. Right now, every 34 seconds, somebody is placed in manacles and thrown in a box because they simply possessed marijuana in this country. Every 34 seconds. And when that happens, jobs go, cars go to the pound. People, you know, it's just a huge disruption in everybody's life. And I defend a lot of these cases, and I have a lot of medical cases that come in, people that have medical needs for marijuana. And it's just, you know, this latest few years with DFW NORML has been a journey for me and an education process. And I needed to hear Sean, what he said earlier about us. All we got was we got this medical bill, and we are now considered a medical marijuana state. We're slowly gaining into the majority of states and things like that. I needed to hear that because I was so disappointed with our Texas legislature this year. You know, we had 12 bills. A lot of them were just heavy hitting, and you know, there's a lot of what I consider carpetbaggers that have come running in at the last minute and trying to, you know, I guess grab the spotlight for themselves. And when we've been here doing this stuff for years, I considered the whole thing in Austin a defeat, but you know what? It's not. It's really not. I mean, we at least got the bastards to admit, on some level, they're wrong. On some level, they're wrong. But in my world, you know, medical is just a drop into the bucket to the heartache that government is imposing on the citizens of this country where it comes to marijuana. It's a deck chair on the Titanic when you look at the total grief and misery that's being doled out, you know, starting with the Nixon administration. It's being doled out by our government as an excuse to criminalize people. They're using it as an excuse to tax people. They're you know, I mean, people are getting picked up and arrested for marijuana, and my God, it costs more than if they smoke the best weed available nonstop 24/7, just because the government caught them. So look, yes, there's medical, but you know what? The whole body of law is absolute bullshit. I'm all for pushing the medical issue because that's where we're getting our traction right now. The science is on our side, you know, and it's hard to argue with somebody like this. You know, it's really hard to argue, and I'll take that. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, man. Great.
My pleasure.
Yeah. There's a lot of people hurting out. In fact, they're mixing you up. They're getting you with both. All right, what Sean brought me up here to talk to you about? He says I talk too much. I don't know if you're aware of it or not. It made the cover of High Times magazine, but back in May, last part of May, we had our wakeboard team out at Possum Kingdom Lake, and at a place called Hell's Gate, and it was at the Red Bull Cliff Diving Championships, and they were out there to hand out koozies and you know, material. Yeah, I mean, it was a promotional event more than anything. There was no way. Basically, this is a tie-up. It's this big scenic bay over these cliffs, and we've been to a number of tie-ups, but you know, when you come in there, you tie up, and then another boat ties up to you, and another boat ties up to you, and then they just have these rows and rows of boats. And out there, it looked like it was going to be a great day. You know, the air was thick. You know, lots and lots of good people out there, which is no surprise. It's a lake, right? But anyway, I left momentarily and came back to find 8 game wardens on Hydro, our normal boat, and all my guys, all the wakeboard team members hooked up and sitting on a warden boat under arrest or something. I don't know exactly what they were doing at that moment, but they had, after just completely ransacking the boat, these guys had managed to find just under 3 grams of marijuana. And this is a promotional boat. I mean, hundreds of people are on it. And they came up and I couldn't drive. I'd left momentarily to get gasoline in a wave runner. And when I came back, this is what I found. And, you know, I explained to them, look, it's a promotional boat. There's hundreds of people on it. I don't know, you know. But at any rate, they took all these guys to jail. And one of them wasn't even on the boat when they arrived. He was off on a float in the area, but he was off talking to some other people. And when they pointed him out and said, "Are you with this group?" And yeah. And they said, "Come over here." And there was actually a woman on another boat that was going, "Don't you go over there. Don't, you know." And she knew what was in store. Well, at any rate, we got into digging and all right. So just so I'll let y'all know, if the police were to do a walkthrough right now at this event right here, right now, we would submit a public information request to the city of Dallas, wanting to know what the hell brought them here. You know, why were they here? What were they doing? And we do this quite regularly. I mean, on the rare occasions that it happens, and we don't do anything with it. We just want to know what the hell, what's going on here. And with this event, we did this, and we found out that out there at this, of course, it's in Palo Pinto County, which is out in the rural area, and there were over 40 people arrested that weekend, and some of them for the most nefarious reasons. But and the game wardens have given us 3 different reasons for having boarded our vessel and started searching. And none of them, well, all right, one of them, I think the one that was truthful is the one that told our guys when they rode up, we could smell that 2.5 rows away. Well, I'm sure they could. We could too, you know. And but at any rate, I think they saw that boat. They, you know, in Dallas, Fort Worth, we've gotten real comfortable. The police know who we are. We've got a good rapport with them. They're not messing with us. We're not messing with them, and we both like it just fine, just like that. And but I think we were too comfortable outside our comfortable zone when we went out into Palo Pinto County, and the end result was they just stormed our boat. Well, then the question is why? What was their legal reason for doing so? A lot of people say, "Well, great wardens can do." No, they can't do that. They can do safety inspections. That doesn't mean they can just board your vessel and start opening containers. They can make sure your horn works and you got enough life jackets and all that other stuff, but they can't just come in and start searching. And at any rate, we submitted a public information request to the Texas Department of Safety, and I will admit it was we wanted to know everything. We wanted to know who was there. We wanted rosters. We wanted schedules. We wanted emails saying, you know, because what they do, the state does it like an event like this or like spring break or whatever. Like if if spring break were going on, the Alcohol Beverage Commission would send all their agents down to that area. But there's going to be emails and rosters and things like that. We want to know who these officers were, and we wanted to know why they got on there, and we wanted to know, we wanted to know everything. And we sent a public information act request to the Texas Department of Wildlife, the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, and they basically took the request that we had made and expanded it. You want the cell phone records of the officers over there? Do you also want the cell phone records of everyone they talk to? And the request said that the bills, the detailed billing for all the officers that were on that location that day of state-issued cell phones. That's all we asked for. And they did this with each and everything that we asked for. They expanded our request and then asked us to narrow it. And they have to respond to that, or they have to comply with that within 10 days and all this. Well, this was in May, folks, the end of May, 1st of June, and they still haven't done it. We sent them a deal this just last Monday saying, look, this is getting serious. You better comply with our lawful request for all this information. And there's been no response at all. So it's looking like in the next 3 to 4 days, it's going to become ripe for us to file a lawsuit against the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. It won't be for money. It's not for false arrest or any of this bullshit. It's just to get it's called a writ of mandamus. It's a court order for them to turn over those records to us. And this isn't some get-rich-quick scheme or anything like that. This is trying to bring them in compliance with the law in terms of telling us what the hell they were doing and transparency and what went on out there that day. And hold them, if need be, hold them accountable. We don't have the information yet, but I know we've got 3 different stories as to why they did what they did, and we don't have any answers at all. If they're gonna crawl up our ass for 3 grams of some moldy weed that fallen down behind the seat 6 months ago, we're going to hold them accountable to the law. So anyway, I met with the board members this morning, this afternoon, just before the meeting, and just made sure that everything was a go. Again, there's a few days. They still have a few days to comply with the latest deadline I've given them and things like that. But it looks like, for the first time ever, DFW NORML is getting ready to sue a law enforcement entity, not for what they've done, but for information that we're lawfully entitled to. And if that happens, it's going to send a good message too. I think, don't fuck with us. And now we get up here in Dallas, Fort Worth. Cops are used to large crowds. They're used to people doing the things we do. They're more laid back. They understand now. Hey, I'm just here. Let me get it. My daughter's got a piano recital at 7. I need to be. And but we got out in Hooterville, and had a very different experience. But at any rate, I want you to know, if you see anything about us suing the police or suing, and it's going to send a good message to law enforcement across the board, that we will sue you if you act out, okay? But again, we're not saying they acted out. We're just saying we want our information. We're lawfully entitled to it and all that. And so, if you see anything in the news or anything about us suing the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department or anything, I want you to understand that that's what. I wish I did personal injury. That's what we're up to. And I hope you'll support us on this. I think from the applause that we got, is everybody says it's time to do this. So thank you very much. And I just wanted to let the membership know what's going on this week. All right.
Weren't expecting that, were you? This is painful. Excuse me. That's so much better, right? All right. How are we doing? Everybody still with us? Yeah. All right. Good. Up next, I would like to introduce my counterpart from our Denton NORML chapter. This is the president of our newest subchapter of the NORML group here in the state of Texas. Caroline and Marshall, they are the founders of Denton NORML, two young people who came to a lobby day with us in Austin, rode the bus on a 6 a.m. ride to Austin from Dallas-Fort Worth, and came back and decided they were going to get as involved as they are now, and now they are leaders in their communities. Everybody give it up for Marshall and Caroline.
Hey guys, so as Sean said, my name is Caroline Turner. I'm the president of Denton NORML. So I wanted to talk a little bit about why I got involved and why I'm here. So some of you guys know, some of you guys don't. I'm 19 years old, and college student, just pretty average in general. And Marshall actually had been to a few DFW NORML events before. And at the time I was working a lot, I didn't really have the time to go. And finally one time they came up that, all right, like I can go to an event. So it was the Cowtown rally in Fort Worth, actually just a couple of months ago. So I went to that event as just a face in the crowd. I was standing there and I was listening to these great people speaking, and I was like, wow, this is insane. These people are getting up here telling their deeply personal stories about why they're here, and I became inspired. So at first, I was thinking, like, I want to get involved, and so I'm going to get personally involved. I started trying to volunteer, spoke to a lot of board members, tried to, figure out ways that I could get involved with this. But as it went on, I realized that there was a lot of people in Denton, and it's a college town. And I know from my personal experience that there's a lot of people who want marijuana laws changed in Denton. And so at first, I was kind of going towards a student thing. I was thinking, maybe we could see if we can get the students involved. And as I started going to more DFW NORML events, I realized this wasn't just the youth that was interested in political action or marijuana law reform in general. This was everyone. I was finding the more I was talking to people that it didn't matter what age you were, what gender you were, what race you were, where your background was, where you're from. There was so many people that were interested in this and changing the law. So I started talking to Sean, and so that was kind of how Denton NORML was initially created. But my reasoning was, a lot of the reason was because, there's a lot of people I feel like could be involved, but my reasoning was founded on the people who told their stories. I personally could use medical marijuana. It's not life-threatening, it's not super serious. It would be good for me, but it's nothing that I'm life-depending on. But there were people that were coming up and they were saying, this is my story, this is my reason, and this is why I need it. And I feel like people that could use medical marijuana or couldn't have an obligation to those people, because we need to fight for them. We need to make sure that we are taking the torch and going forward, going on, and making sure that these people are being spoken for. Because there are people that have, they miss events or miss things because they're undergoing chemo treatment or dialysis or all these other things that makes it harder for them to fight. And you'd think it would stop them, but it doesn't, as we can see. So I want you to take a second to ask yourself, why am I here? I know a lot of you are here because you yourself or someone you know has been arrested for marijuana possession, that you could use medical marijuana, you know someone that could. But if you look within yourself, you'll find that you're not always there because you have a specific person that you're trying to help. Sometimes you just realize that the law is unjust. And as a citizen of the United States, or not, as a person who lives in the United States and obliges to these laws, we have to realize sometimes that the laws are unjust. And we have an obligation to change unjust laws. So when you're trying to talk to people about getting involved, or when you're thinking, how can I get involved? Why am I doing this? Remember the stories that people tell you. That keeps me going every day. That's what keeps me up at night. That's what keeps me working like crazy on Denton NORML, is thinking about the stories that these people have and tying that together with realizing that this law is unjust. And with that power, an individual person has more power than you could ever imagine, just with that arm of saying this is wrong, and now it is your obligation to prove to me why this is just. So going to the Capitol, coming to events, it's great, and it's really, really helpful. But a lot of times, you can change the laws and change so much by just speaking about why you're here and why it's important. Because you never know who you're going to inspire. So I'm going to come back around and say, at the beginning, I was just a face in the crowd. I was a 19-year-old girl who was interested in changing the marijuana laws. I didn't know too much about it. I knew enough that it wasn't right and I wanted to get more information. But you never know when you're coming up here on the stage who's listening. You never know, with your family or who you work with or who your friends are. You never know who you're going to inspire and what that person is capable of. Because I guarantee you, Jeff and Adam and Barbara, people that have become some of my closest friends, those people didn't know that I was in the crowd. They didn't know who I was. They didn't know what I was about. They didn't know what I was capable of. And I honestly didn't either. But arming people with stories will create a greater passion that makes them so powerful. And that's why when people sit here and tell their stories, you listen, and you listen like it's, your life depends on it, because you're getting armed with weapons of so many great things. And that's why things like meetings are important. That's why things like social hours are important. Even if you just come to meetings, even if you just come to the social hours, listen to people, because you can then transfer that information to someone else. And that is the greatest thing that we can possibly do. Because as soon as we eliminate the social stigma, as soon as we start spreading information, as soon as more and more and more people realize how wrong this is, then we have the masses on our side. So if you can go to Austin, if you can speak with your representatives, it's great. And do it. Do it like crazy. Do it. Call them. You don't have to go to Austin to speak with your representatives. But speaking with others is just as important, because Denton NORML was founded in a place where we had a representative that was basically in control of medical marijuana laws. She was the chair of the Public Health Committee, Myra Crownover. Thank you. And also the sheriff of the city of Denton County is the leader of the Sheriff's Association, which is one of the most outspoken opponents to marijuana law reform. So when Jeff and Adam and Barbara and Alexis Fortel, 9-year-old girl, she was sitting there speaking in front of a huge crowd. Yeah, crazy, right? When they were standing there and they were speaking to that crowd, they didn't know that they were inspiring someone who lived in an incredibly critical area for marijuana law reform. And maybe I'm a little self-interested here, but at the same time, I'm thinking that it could be that a big reason why Myra Crownover has announced she's not going to run again is because of us. Yeah. Not yet. We haven't announced it yet, so we'll talk about it. But you never know. And that's the most beautiful thing. A lot of times, unfamiliarity and the unknown is terrifying. And that's why it can be when you're speaking to other people. But the beauty about that is that there could be no bad things that come from it, but there could be wonderful, amazing, powerful, beautiful things that could come out of you just speaking about it. And you never know who you're inspiring and what they're going to do with it. So I want you guys... There's going to be probably some more people that come up here and tell their personal stories, and I want you to realize the value of what they're doing, about how difficult it is sometimes to tell their stories, and how brave and inspiring and amazing these people are, and telling deeply personal things about their life to make sure that you are armed with information to carry on the torch and keep this battle going. Okay, so yes, I'm going to have a little moment of campaigning here. This is Mama's shirt, which is Mothers Advocating Medical Marijuana for Autism. Mama is a great organization, and I'm personally really wanting to be a part of Mama and really trying to be a part of Mama because Marshall's brother has severe autism. And I keep saying, that I'm looking at all these results that people are getting from Colorado with people with autism going and using medical marijuana. And there are things like a lessening hostility, speech development, and progression, where you think all these people are saying, oh, well, marijuana, decreases, brain capacity, it decreases, developmental abilities. And we're seeing with autism that it's actually increasing it a lot. And so that is a big personal reason that I have. And it's not because Colin, that's his name, not because Colin necessarily would use medical marijuana or because it would help him. It's because his parents would have the option to be able to use that as a treatment if their doctor said that it could be beneficial to him. And that's a huge thing, is that we're not always fighting for people just because we know that they use medical marijuana because they need it. There are people out there that it would be wonderful if they had the option, that their doctors could say, I've looked into this, I know about it, and this is something that could benefit. So MAMA is a great organization. And there's a lot of sub-organizations in this movement for people with specific disabilities or people with specific needs, or all kinds of organizations that have spawned from this. So maybe there's somebody out here that knows someone that's suffering from a debilitating medical condition. They hear these stories and they go off and they start their own group, and that group can go to us and they can lobby and they'll give another reason to the legislators as to why this is important. So Denton NORML is really important to me, and I think it's really important to this movement. We're going to be having our next meeting September 12th at Eastside Social Club in Denton. We have weekly social hours, Tuesday at 7 at Mighty Jake's. You can get all the information on our Facebook page. So if you would, go like Denton NORML on Facebook. Even if you don't live in Denton, you may know someone who lives in Denton, or you might need someone who lives in Denton, and you can tell them, hey, go check out Denton NORML. So we're doing a lot of great things. We're going to be working on a site and release program, like some counties already instituted or working on instituting. So we have a lot of stuff coming up and a lot of great things we're going to do, and it's all because of you guys. Every single person, because you all have a reason to be here. And when you can see these big crowds of people here, you know that they're all here for a reason. And you want to do it for each and every one of you. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here. You're doing things greater than yourself and greater than you can imagine just by being here and listening to these people speak. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the meeting. He's coming.
All right, thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Marshall. Up next, I would like to introduce you to somebody that you probably already know and just don't know it yet. Somebody who is literally has his ear so close to the ground with regard to marijuana policy in Texas. Sometimes he gets boots stepping right in front of his face. This is my friend who helps provide meaningful, accurate, honest reporting on Texas marijuana news, because most media outlets don't. Either because they're willfully ignorant, or they just honestly decide they don't want to talk about this for whatever reason. But media coverage is one of the most important things that we as an organization need. And here that I'm about, my lovely wife came and founded the Texas Cannabis Report. How many of you have ever been to that website? My information from that website. It's because I trust where the news is coming from. Because I know Stephen Carter, and I know that he's not going to put his name on it if he doesn't damn sure that it's as close to honest reporting as it can possibly be based on the available information. And so Stephen came all the way from Waco to talk to us a little bit today. And I want us to all make him feel very welcome. He's with Waco NORML. He's also very affiliated with DFW NORML. Everybody, please give it up for Stephen Carter, Texas Cannabis Report.
Thank you, Sean. It is great to be here. DFW NORML puts on some of the greatest events I've ever been to. And they can't do that without volunteers. And I wanted to talk to you today about supporting the movement. if you've ever volunteered for NORML or any other organization, give yourself a round of applause because that's amazing. I'm the Deputy Director of NORML Waco, and I got involved about 2009. I didn't know anyone whose life could be improved by medical marijuana. I didn't know anyone who had ever been arrested for marijuana. I wasn't even that big of a consumer of marijuana. But I knew that our policy was wrong. And I knew that we needed people to step up and do something about it. And everyone says, well, someone ought to do that. Well, that someone is you and me. The greatest thing that you can do in life is help someone else. And that's what activism is all about, helping others. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than anyone. It's about the whole. And that's why we do it. In 2009, I became involved with NORML Waco. Did a lot of volunteer work with them. Moved myself up the ranks and became secretary and then deputy director. And then I went to a regional NORML conference put on by DFW NORML. And that was amazing. And that's when I was inspired to do something even greater. I realized that I had more to give. Everyone always has more to give. So I founded Texas Cannabis Report, as far as I know, the only news source in Texas dedicated to covering the movement. We don't get accurate coverage in the news. We barely get coverage in the news. What's that?
Positive coverage.
We don't get any, well, we get a little positive coverage. We definitely don't get accurate coverage. It's often biased. And really what we need is that source of information for activists such as yourselves to go out and reference and aid yourselves in making this movement better, making it more effective. So it's really imperative that we have accurate information. It's imperative that we know what we're talking about. It's imperative that we know what's going on. And that's what we do. And it really is scary to do this. People's hearts race whenever they get up and they speak to a group like this. Mine's racing. Anytime that we go to a public event, we have a march, a rally, especially going and speaking with your legislators. Nobody's just comfortable whenever they go do that stuff. It's tough. And I did not go to the Capitol this year and get involved with a lobby day. I wasn't able to. 2017. It's absolutely important that we get in contact with our legislators. It's important that we go down there and we show them that we mean business, that things have to change. And like Caroline said, I have no doubt in my mind that we forced one, if not two people to not run for re-election next year because of what we did. And we have to continue to put pressure on these people and let them know that it is unacceptable to continue to oppress people for possessing a plant, for choosing to medicate themselves with a very healthy solution. There's very, very little negative effects for consuming marijuana, and you really can't argue with that. So that's the biggest thing that I want to get across to everyone here, is that it is so important to get involved, to give everything that you can, whenever you can, and help make sure that organizations such as DFW NORML continue to be vibrant and exceptional, because each and every one of you makes this organization exceptional. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Stephen. Again, if you have not visited the Texas Cannabis Report, txcann.com. It's fantastic. Every day there's new content posted. You'll likely see DFW NORML posting a lot of the content from Texas Cannabis Report because it's just damn fine reporting on marijuana news in Texas. How many people think there needs to be more of that? So there's been talk for about the past couple of years or so. Stephen actually was part of the inspiration for this idea to have a marijuana-focused media presence in Texas. Because a lot of times when you're dealing with the media, they have to sell it up to the news manager that what we're talking about is worth airtime. It doesn't matter if it's actually newsworthy, so much as it's worth the airtime. And so the idea kind of came about, why don't we just become our own media? Why aren't we just reporting on our own stuff ourselves? Kind of like Texas Cannabis Report is doing. And so one of the things that you're going to see come out of this camp, out of DFW NORML, and maybe you'll be a part of this team if you're interested in helping, is to start the first honest Texas marijuana news show that comes out once a week. And it's in a format that people are used to digesting the news in an actual news show with, anchors and teleprompters and on-screen graphics, an actual news show that people can feel like they're getting legitimate information from the way that they get Texas Cannabis Report. And the name of this news show that we would like to create, Howdy Doobie. Because I personally feel like that really sums up this whole lack of media coverage here in Texas. They know that they want to talk about it. They know that it gets ratings and that people care and that it's important. And yet that they don't anyway is just so absurd to me. That, well, okay, if NBC doesn't want to report on our marijuana march, or Fox doesn't want to let their viewership know that 4,000 people shut down the city of Dallas at the on-ramp of 30 because there was a marijuana march going on. Well, we'll just tell Dallas, right? We'll tell Dallas the way Texas Cannabis Report tells the world. And so I will create, and if you're willing to support me, let's talk afterwards, to create the first Texas marijuana news show, a 30-minute, once-a-week news show that is news. It's a trusted news source, but it also has a little bit of opinion in there. Kind of like the Colbert Report, how he sort of puts his spin on it. Whatever you feel about the Colbert Report, that's not my point. My point is it's a talk news show that when you hear somebody lay the news out like these guys do, it gives you that little bit of ammunition to go and be a smart ass to the people that want to disagree with you about your news, right? How many people have heard of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver? It's on HBO. So John Oliver was a writer on the Colbert Report, Emmy award-winning writer, and he's got his own news show called Last Week Tonight with John Oliver on HBO. So it's like the Colbert Report, but they say shit and fuck a lot. And it's actually quite good as far as news goes. It's funny, and it definitely appeals to people who traditionally probably don't ever watch the news. And that's what I want to do with Howdy Doobie, is appeal to the people who need good, trusted news information in a video format. Because while Stephen, he writes so well, people like myself, I can't read for more than 30 seconds before my eyes glaze over. And I start thinking about, all the other things that I need to do. But I can watch and I can listen. And I think a lot of people are that way. They're visual or auditory. And I think if we talk the news, if we speak the news to Texans, they're going to be more interested in the news. And as a result, all the major mainstream media will start reporting on our reporting. Do you see what I'm getting at with this? I'm trying to set a trap for the media to fall into, because the media is notorious for, I don't care until this media cares. All of a sudden, there's a story over here. Well, we become our own media to tell our own stories, so all of a sudden, now the media can report on our media. Yeah, are you with me?
One thing I wanted to add speaking to what he was just talking about, is earlier this week I wrote a story about Nacogdoches NORML adopting a highway. They're the second organization to adopt a highway, and of course DFW NORML has a street that they've adopted. After I put that out, very soon afterwards, a local reporter contacted Jared Cates, which is their executive director, and interviewed him for a story that's coming out. So our news led to local news media coverage down there in Nacogdoches. So that's awesome.
And that's the way it works. All you got to do is be able to say, hey, look, there's a story over here. And that's what I want to do. So for me, you know, I'm the executive director of DFW NORML, yes, and so people know me as that. But I do feel like, in a lot of ways, people consider me an authority on marijuana law reform in Texas. And so if I tell you something, you're likely going to believe me, right? You don't think I'm up here just blowing smoke up your ass. And so what I would like to do is capitalize on the integrity that I've been able to provide DFW NORML through myself by creating a news show that has integrity, that is meant to honestly report on Texas marijuana law reform, because nobody else is doing it. Every time there's a march, a meeting, a rally, an event, a fundraiser, I don't care, somebody needs to be talking about it. Somebody needs to be putting the ammunition in your hands to go and have conversations with people who think that you're stupid because you support marijuana law reform and they're too stupid to understand the complexity of the topic. Are you with me? Yeah. So anyway, howdy doobie, be on the lookout for it. I'll be doing a Kickstarter here pretty soon because it's going to be hard to do it. I want to do it in an actual studio. I want it to look and feel like news because that's what Texans are used to seeing. I want them to be able to connect with this and feel like it's familiar to them. And so that I don't have to build their trust. They already trust us the way that they trust honest reporting with Texas Cannabis Report. What do you think about that? Yeah. Awesome.
We want legit. We want it legit.
We want it legit. We want it legit, and I'm just so sick of thousands of people being in the street openly consuming marijuana with police onlookers not being news. I don't understand how that's not news. And so we got to make it news. Are you with me? Yeah. Excellent. All right, we're approaching the end of our agenda here. I've got a couple of things before we wrap up. Can I get Steve Williams up here to the front? Steve Williams to the front paging. Steve Williams. Oh, there he is. Everybody give Steve Williams a hand. This is one of our good friends, our board members here at DFW NORML. And Steve actually spearheaded our Adopt a Street program. How many people know we adopted a street in Fort Worth a couple years ago? Carroll Street. Anybody ever heard of this little area of Fort Worth called Montgomery Plaza? It's a little busy. We're there. That's where our street is, at Montgomery Plaza. The 1 to 700 blocks of Carroll Street, actually. It's a significant stretch of street in a significant part of town. We do these quarterly street cleanups as a way of showing that we as activists, as marijuana law reformers, care about more than whatever it is our individual topic is. We care about making our communities a better place. Would you agree? Yeah. All right, well then Steve Williams here, the man behind the Adopt a Street program, is going to talk a little bit about our next event, Adopt a Street, what is it, September 14th, 19th, and talk a little bit about it, why this is important, some of the fun that's been had. Yes, it is picking up trash, but it's actually a lot more fun than it sounds. So I'm going to turn it over to Steve Williams. Everybody give your attention, and we're about wrapped up here, and then we'll begin our raffle and social hour. So thank you very much.
Hey kids. Hey. Hello. How y'all doing? Everybody cooling off yet? I know it's kind of hot in the sun. In the breeze. All right, just real quick, I'll make this snappy for you guys. The street cleanup. It was a way. One of the things Sean and everybody else Sean's mentioned, and the other folks up here, is that if you have an idea, don't just say, "Hey, here's an idea, go run with it." No, if you have an idea, come up and say, "Hey, I have this idea. Can I go with this?" Then we're on to something, because it takes individuals to get things rolling. So I thought, okay, we need to solve this Adopt a Street program. Thought, well, why not? We get signs at both ends of the street. We have permanent signage. We have at both ends of the street. So this is a very busy street over off of 7th, and it works really well. We've been over there, and people have had a great time. And we show people we're out in the community that we're doing something, that we're trying to, we're your neighbors. We're the people that live next door to you. People who may go to church with you, wherever your business meeting is. People like us are everywhere. I mean, I look like somebody's dad. I'm great. I'm sorry, I can go anywhere, and they never profile me. So I'm down with it. But this is a big group of people, and it's growing all the time, as you know. So the street cleanup, basically all we had to do was file with the city, and other people have done it like out in Nacogdoches for the highway. Get with the city or your county, also the state, depending on what you're trying to do, and tell them you want to adopt a particular area, go through the motions. It took us 9 months to get it, because I don't know if it's city government or they probably let it be, I don't know. But anyway, we have a street. We have signs on both ends that say adopted by DFW NORML. It's there 24/7. It's been there for about 3 years now. Our name is out there, and we've got branding in the community that gets a lot of attention. So if you have something out there, you have an idea, just go do it. Bring it to them, and suddenly, you've got something going. Now you have to maintain it, but it's a great idea. So the next thing I wanted to cover was elections. What's coming up with board elections for DFW elected board members? We vote rotating years, depending on the position. This is the side number of years through 2015. We've got 4 positions that are available or will be coming open. We have one position that's been available, deputy director of the organization. That's Sean's right hand and right leg person, because it's a tight bond with those who have a deputy director, and so that's an organization. And so we have a couple of positions open. We're letting people know about it now. The announcements will come out in October. Whoever wants to run, whoever is interested, they'll announce at that point. And then, in September, the elections will be at the November meeting, 2015. And the positions that will be voted on this year, and if you're interested in getting involved, this is the way to do it. The deputy director, which has been an open position since we had somebody move to another position. So the deputy director of finance, currently it's Ms. Loretta Lobona. So if you want to compete with her, that position is open this year. And as well, we have 2 positions that are elected every year. Out of those, it's the public information officer, which is currently Mr. David Sloan, and the compliance officer, which is Mr. Kevin Smith, who's not here today. But those 2 positions are voted on every year, so those will come up. Compliance officer, make sure when we have an event in a city, we know who to talk to, what restrictions they may have, any paperwork. It's compliance. Make sure that we cross the T's, dot the I's, because one thing we try to do is make sure that we work with the cities, obey every request that they give us, and then we get them to work with us. You see their laws. Now, there's going to be a different take on everything, but they've been really great so far. I mean, there's always the tensions, but like Sean said, we do these, and people really are getting to know the people that are involved with the DFW NORML. It's like these guys apparently smoke weed, but they're really not smoking. So, anyway, just quickly, those were the offices. If you're interested in running, you need to notify the board, Sean or any elected board member, notify them what you're interested in. And then in September, it will be announced who those people are, so they have time to politic, let people know who they are, get out there a little bit. October is when the official announcements will be made September, and then October is when we do the actual voting. So we'll have a meeting, it'll be during the meeting, we'll have the meeting, and then we'll do the voting immediately. So if you have any questions, contact me or any of these folks standing up here. And yeah, that's it. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Steve. 5:52. It looks like we're going to finish right on time at 6 p.m. Everybody. So we've got our last 2 speakers who are going to come and wrap things up for us. Then we're going to do our raffle drawing, and then we're going to do something a little different. The man who just was up here, he's actually a world-class ukulele player, and he's going to sing a little song with us that I love, that he's sang at a couple of our board meetings, called the Prohibition Blues. And it's hilarious, and it's sad, and it's a great song. And we'll do that to kind of close out our meeting. We're going to sing it, excuse me. We're going to sing it. You, especially you. But the last two speakers, I'd like to introduce really quick. First up, Megan Schugert, get your butt up here. Everybody give it up for our volunteer coordinator. This is the woman tasked with wrangling stoned volunteers, for all of our events. It's pretty tough work. She's going to talk a little bit about some upcoming volunteer opportunities, what it takes to volunteer with us. If you have any questions about volunteering, if you want to volunteer, even if it's not at the table, but maybe doing something different, come and talk to Megan, bring her your idea, and she'll hear you out, okay? Everybody, give it up for Megan.
Well, Sean pretty much gave my speech for me. He kind of told you what I was looking for, so that made that pretty easy. But really, we do have some things coming up. We've got the Nintendo 6420. Thanks, Steve. The tournament coming up, and we do have a couple spots, I believe, left for that. So anybody willing to want to help us set up or do that kind of stuff, awesome. We always welcome that. And we do have a diverse group of needs. It isn't just working with, it isn't just doing the merch and all that fun stuff, but that is a big thing. And it's a good start. That's where I started. And I continue to want to go up the chain and be able to be more beneficial to the cause. And that's what we need from you. Start at the table, just like those wonderful ladies back there did, and a bunch of you guys. If you haven't volunteered with us, why? If you believe in the cause, fight for the cause. Oh, okay. So I just told my awesome speech myself. Anyway, if you believe in the cause, why have you not volunteered for the cause? If you have not worked with me once, you should. It doesn't mean you have to be in front of everybody, but yes, fight with us. Don't just party with us, fight with us. We have the Nintendo 64 thing that is a fundraiser that will benefit, obviously, like Sean talked about, our March coming up. Our March is a big thing. We need lots of help. These things don't just happen. These massive events, you guys, getting there early and helping us set up, making sure we've got our own security, that our guys are, all the needs are attended to. And that doesn't just happen. It's because of y'all. So, yes, get with me. Facebook, call me, find me Wednesday night, whatever. I'll help you get set up to volunteer and become part of our family, not just a member of our cause. So, thank you guys.
All right.
Hey, Sean, will you tell us her name so I can put it on Facebook?
Megan Schugert, MEGANSCHUGART. She is Facebook friendly. Come and find her, and she will put you to work. All right. I said we were down to our last two speakers. Before I bring our last speaker up, I do want to make one quick note. The shirts that we have available for sale right now, we actually just ordered some more shirts that will be in on Monday or Tuesday. So if you want to check our website, we actually have, and I see a gentleman over in the black hat. Would you mind standing up, please, in the black hat with the purple shirt? Yes. And your lady, too. I did not notice you were both. We actually just ordered two more of our State of Hemp shirts right here, which are purple and green. Show us the back. They're two-sided. They got DFW NORML on the back. So those are now available on our website, as well as the classic blue and gold, navy and gold NORML shirt that you I guess, yeah, right there. So we help generate those conversations so you don't have to go and say hi to every stranger. They're going to say hi to you when they see that marijuana leaf, or when they say, oh, NORML. You say, I'm a member. What do you know about NORML? Oh, you're a member too? Oh, okay, cool. You want to go up to the car? So, yeah, believe it or not, I've been to many cities all over Texas and the country wearing a NORML shirt, and that is a well-known logo, my friends. That organization is recognizable. It is older than me. It's older than most of the people that are here. And guys, rocking that logo, rocking that shirt, being that brand ambassador, that's part of what being normal is. It's being unapologetically normal, right? Good. All right, for our final speaker, I'd like to introduce to you one of our volunteers who's actually been helping. How many people have seen our live stream? Have you watched our live stream at all? Pretty cool. A lot of people watch our live stream that never come to our meetings. But this is one of our volunteers that actually helped us figure out how to live stream a DFW NORML meeting. He's been helping us out, volunteering for about the past couple of months. Recently, he raised his hand and said, "Hey, man, I'd like to give a try at speaking at a meeting." Because, I mean, let's be honest, how many people here have a terrible fear of public speaking? You can raise your hand. Would you believe that I do too?
Yeah.
Well, I don't anymore, but I used to. And you want to know why I don't anymore? It's because I did it so many times and fell on my face so many times and got honest feedback from people like you so many times that I stopped being afraid of it. And so now I'd like to give my friend Austin the opportunity to do the same thing. Everybody please give your attention to Austin Puff of DFW NORML.
So some of y'all know me, some of you don't. Okay, I'm talking with my friend. My name's Austin. I'm from North Dallas, where I've always lived. People complain about not enough stuff being in Dallas, so one of the first things I started doing after I got involved was trying to make more stuff happen in Dallas. I'm doing a lot of stuff now that I wouldn't have done 10 months ago, a year ago. A year ago, I was in a totally different place. And so, the gentleman, Mr. Raines, was talking about how the stuff that he has to deal with and how it's hard to come out and talk about it. Well, I've never told my mom about it, ever. It's never been a thing that she would be okay with. I have a really good relationship with my parents and my family, and the stuff that I deal with in my life came to a head about 9 months ago into what turned into a week-long depressive episode. Prior to that point, those things would go. You know, you never know when you're going to pull out, whatever. And so I've dealt with ADHD since I was a really small kid, so I've always had problems like focusing on getting things fixed and fixing me. And so when I had this week-long depressive episode, I had already been doing research. There's the 3 phases that people go through before they're willing to try this stuff, and this isn't for me because of all the propaganda that's been coming through generations telling them this is not okay. And then you transition to, well, things aren't really working out great. Maybe I'll try it when it's legal because I have a career, I have a life, I'm productive, I can't afford to have these extra stresses doing that. And then you go to, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't care what I have to try. And I reached out to a friend. And I hadn't talked to this guy in 11 years. They told him what I was dealing with. I told him about the research I was doing and the things I was looking at. And he said, hey, if you want to try this, we're from the same place, you'll be here seeing your family, why don't you try something? And so, in the 5 days of me feeling like absolute garbage, I tried it. And it changed everything. I saw what was going wrong. I pulled myself out of my depressive episode. All of my shit was there. I could see, I could be self-aware. So, as an adult, when you're rejecting all the things that you always know, you run into people who were trying to do the same. So I had friends who were veterans, and they were having problems getting in touch with their feelings and figuring out what they were doing because they were taking 6 or 7 medications. And I had started reading studies where it was actually people were trying to treat these things that I was dealing with separately. So this is all about me. But a lot of people deal with these things and don't know how to deal with it. They get stuck on, like, everybody who dealt with ADHD as a child or ADD, what the doctors and they put all the kids on basically was amphetamines. And it evolves differently in sort of time release and whatever, but that isn't good for everybody. So they're doing research for that. I'm kind of rambling, but I wrote a bunch of stuff down. So when you finally reach through, the people out there that are dealing with things like me, when you finally reach through and okay with the idea of the social stigma, so some people don't think it's okay. They don't understand what the other people deal with, whether it be physical pain, emotional stuff, not being able to slow their life down, which is out of control. So they need to hear from other people. People like, if you're out there and you're dealing with this, and this is you, and you haven't tried it yet, talk to somebody. You're going to ask weird questions. You're going to set people off. A gentleman called me this week soliciting stuff. That's not okay. So if you're watching this video, don't do that to people. But it's going to be hard to have these conversations because what they've done is criminalize your curiosity with bad laws. And bad laws, you can obey them and be unhappy. You can civilly disobey them and get what you need. Or you can just say F it. And a lot of people are just saying F it. But what we're generally doing is civil disobedience part, being responsible, showing people, like, you know, I have a career. There's other people out there like me that have a career. They're in corporate America that can't talk about this. They can't be active. But me stepping up and making a street for these people that have anxiety that can come out. I have had 2 cannabis attacks today, one before and one here. Somebody helped me out with one here. Some people can't face it or whatever. I give them the tool to do that. And eventually these people are going to be like a lot of my friends out there who have started to show up and they don't know how to talk to people yet. And so they're still dealing with their pain, and then they start coming out of their shell. They start volunteering. They start letting themselves feel things from people. They start letting themselves care. They start letting themselves have fun, make friends, build lifelong friendships, just because of a plant they're passionate about. Okay, so this plant, it's not just a plant. It's for a lot of people, it's a window into themselves. So once you're introduced to this plant, you realize that there's a passion that we all feel. So you realize that it shows you the truth. It gives you windows into part of yourself that you don't remember existing, you don't know how to get in touch with, you haven't known how to get in touch with, and now you're addressing it in those things. So it's helping people achieve a rest or whatever that they wouldn't have normally gotten. And so it's more than just truth for a lot of people. It's them regaining control. And whether it's control of your physical pain or control of your whatever, this is an option for a lot of people. And I basically have to break the law to help myself deal with the things that I learned in therapy, things that I'm feeling. So I'm sure a lot of you don't really care, but there are people out there that this matters to, and it can't go to the deal with that.
What's so wrong with a patient feeling good?
Exactly. So you're able to see all these true things with this plant that people lie about and have made propaganda about. But really all it is a tool, a healthy tool. But there's nothing wrong with it. My mom is going to watch this. I'm going to get that shit tomorrow night. I don't care anymore. My parents have always told me I have a good relationship with them. My brother, I talked to him about this 2 weeks ago. He said, he'll have my back. He's going to be here next week. I'm sorry for personally, but I don't. Whatever. So, what I've turned into, when I go out and I grocery shop and I post out whatever the fuck I'm doing this, and people talk to me now, and I like it when people approach me. I'm probably not going to approach them, sorry. And I like it when people come to me, and these are people that I analyze people. It's a thing that I do. People criticize me about it, whatever. It's an active mind. So people that I would never talk to are coming out to me and having conversations. People that I've written off because for whatever reason I think they're not on my level, they're on my level. And so I'm being open to all of this stuff that I wouldn't have been open to just because I've met nice people that have guided me through something that all you can do really is read about the internet and watch, on the internet and watch videos. That's the information you have. That's not giving information. Colorado's giving their people information on how to prepare things from the government. And so you don't have these tools here. So if you've been raised in the South and you know this shit, reach out and talk to people. If you do have a lot of knowledge, share it with people. Because you can be an everyday activist without even trying. You just need a shirt and a hat or whatever the hell and some flyers. And, don't let all the other people that are having these problems that you care about be held back because you just didn't have a conversation with them. Don't let these random strangers that are curious walk away without the information that they need to help us all out. Get them excited about being involved. He got me excited about being involved. My friend brought me to my first meeting in February. I'm doing all this shit. So,
doing it well. Yeah.
So, think of all the people that are too afraid to take these risks, and then just give them the little nudge. All they need is the push to go from, I'll try it when it's legal, to, hey, let's go to Colorado for the weekend for $100. Hey, we're high as fuck. All of my stuff is fixed. I'm fixing it. I'm realizing these new things about myself. I'm feeling all this stuff. And then they come home and they can't do it anymore. And you, if you get them excited about it, or you just talk to them about it, maybe they'll find a tool that helps them, and maybe they won't have to deal with it anymore. You just help somebody, and if they get excited about it, and we all do stuff, the next legislature, because there are things that we can talk to our legislators about now to see where they sit. So we can pin them down and hold them accountable until they either flip or they're just not talking to you anymore, and then you can really mess with them. Because if they stop talking to you, they start doing dumb things and they get sacrificed. This is what happened to Myra Crown over in Denton. She was an easy replacement for somebody that had her seat, and then she got thrown to the wolves when she played her part. So that is part of the truth that marijuana is shining on politics. They're willing to sacrifice their oil money for, you know, whatever it is that we want. So they're gonna have to fight for it. Anyway, help people get involved, because I fucking need this shit.
I just want to make a quick comment after that speech, completely unplanned, but bear with me. So I wanted to reinforce the idea of whenever I was a face in the crowd, I was an anxious face in the crowd, and not just scared because I was there and it was unfamiliar, but because I was dealing with general anxiety disorder. And you hear that a lot of people have anxiety and have depression, and it's really because of how we've evolved in this nation. We're constantly, all these things are demanded of us, and a lot of times we feel like we're insufficient, and it just reflects on us in this fast-paced world that we're living in. A year ago, I couldn't speak to a cashier. I avoided social events like the plague, and I was terrified to do anything out of my immediate comfort zone, which was basically Marshall. That was it. So thankfully I had somebody support me, Marshall, that, you know, he would talk to the cashiers, he would order our food, he would do all those things. Great guy. And it really is something that we need to be aware of, that there is more to this than just fighting for people with medical marijuana. There are people that want to get involved that are scared or unable to. DFW NORML, I can genuinely say, changed my life. Coming to these events with people who are so supportive and understanding, you would be amazed at the amount of people who felt that way before, that have been terrified, whether it's terrified just coming to an event or terrified getting up on the mic. We're really, honestly, the people that are involved in this organization are compassionate because they're doing this for others. They're not doing it always for themselves. And because of that, I really want to emphasize that if you know someone who is nervous or anxious or has any sort of mental health condition that would prevent them from wanting to come to these events, to ensure them that we are really a great, friendly, compassionate people, because we understand the importance of dealing with conditions in alternative ways. And so many of our members suffer with anxiety. So many members suffer with depression. You know, whether it's members or board members or anybody, they've had this, they've been through this. And I can tell you that I'm standing in front of this crowd right now, and yeah, I'm shaking still. All right, I get nervous. I get really, really nervous. And Austin, I feel you. Austin is a trailblazer for this because he's really showing the importance of looking greater than yourself. And it's hard. It is so hard. It's terrifying. It's nerve-wracking. It's insane. And I just want you guys to know that we're here for you. Honestly, I'm in Denton, Norwood. I'm still very involved with DFW. And if any of you know someone who has anxiety, if any of you have anxiety, feel free to talk to me or to talk to Sean. Sean was the same way. He suffered from anxiety as well before he started this, or someone like Austin, because we're trying to force ourselves out of our comfort zones. And we know what it feels like, and we've been through it, and we're willing to help you guys do that. Because not only are you being a part of an organization, but you're being a part of an organization trying to fight for something that is illegal. And that's rough. Not only are you forcing yourself into a social situation, but you're forcing yourself into a cause where people may doubt you. But we're all being doubted. We're all fighting. We're all doing this. We come together as one and support ourselves and lean on each other. And it is so much more than just fighting. It's fighting for each other. And that can be personal or it can be just related to marijuana law reform. So please reach out. If you're doing this, there's so many people here who are willing to talk to you. I can see at least 30 people right now that I know personally that if you walked up to them and said, I'm struggling with this, can you help me? Not only would they say yes, but they would do everything in their power to make sure that you were comfortable and you were happy and you were well taken care of. And people like Austin setting up, the stream. This is insane. This is helping so many people. They can get this information and they're hearing things like this and hearing people telling their stories and telling about their anxiety, and it may make them want to come out. And going back, you don't know what they're capable of. Because I was sitting at a rally, terrified even just to be there, even though I wasn't speaking. Through amazing people and through this amazing cause, I started talking to representatives. I started barging into doors and saying, hey, it's time for you to listen to me. And I would have never been able to imagine doing that before. And we really, really need to have stories from people like Austin who are coming out and making themselves vulnerable. And it's okay to be vulnerable, because we all are right now. So thank you guys for listening, thank you guys for understanding, and make sure that if you see someone here that maybe looks like they're a little comfortable, they're sitting by themselves, and talk to them, like, what do you do? What are you here for? What's your name? Just basic things like that can really bring people to amazing things. So I'm going to hand over the mic to Sean, but thank you guys, and thank you, Austin, mostly, for being an example of what we can do.
All right. Ready for a raffle? Has everybody got a raffle ticket? You get one free raffle ticket for being here. And then we have additional raffle tickets available. Obviously, this money is going to help us do things like have a commercial on Fox News for the Dallas Marijuana March. So we've got a couple of things that are fairly worthwhile, I think. Fairly worthwhile prizes, for a $1 raffle ticket. So let me go ahead and get the first one. Could you please welcome my 11-year-old son to the stage? This is Caleb. Caleb, spitting image of his dad, huh? Caleb's been keeping our first raffle prize safe. Surely, if you've been around DFW NORML for any period of time, you've seen people like myself and my lovely girlfriend Andrea and Adam wearing these lanyards with pins and stuff, right? Yeah? It's kind of becoming this thing with the 420 and the 710 culture. First off, everybody knows what 710 is, right? 710 is the new 420. 710 is for the oil, the concentrate culture, whereas 420 is more for the flower culture. It's two halves of the same coin, if you will, okay? So just a little bit of reference here. So about the 710, because I'm sure a bunch of you have seen 710, you're like, what the hell is that? It's oil upside down. Yeah, that's why they call it dope. But you guys did not know that. But so the pins has become sort of this thing within the movement. Smoke shops are starting to collect a lot of these pins. People like Disney have been putting out pins for 50, 60 years. But about 20 years ago, stoners started putting out pins. And they have all kinds of really cool stuff. Like, I've got this Stormtrooper helmet with marijuana leaves all over it that I call my Doob Trooper. I've got this Twaxed joint. I don't know if you know what a Twaxed joint is. It's when you put oil on a joint. But these pins, it's like a hobby. It's like something, like a flare. How many people have seen Office Space? Yeah? This is my flare, my marijuana flare. I have 37 pieces of flare and a winning smile. But so our first little prize, because I know a lot of people that are interested in pins, they don't really know where to start. So we're going to start your pin game off with some special stuff. We've got 3 pins on this lanyard. One of them is from our freedom fighter sponsor, Mother Earther. It's this fancy blinged out "What a Dab" pin. It's quite dope. We also have this pin from NORML affiliated attorney. Is it John Lacey or Lucy? John Lucy. I'm not sure what state he's from, but he's got these awesome little promotional pins that he does for his law practice, which you'll see one on my lanyard right here, but it actually says, "Am I free to go, officer? If I'm being detained, I do not consent to any searches, and I want to speak prior to answering any questions." And it's got his info on the back. And then we've also got this. How many people have seen Half Baked? Abba Zabba, you my only friend. You remember that Chappelle line? Well, our friend made this Abba Dabba pin for the dab culture, and it's also on this Abba Dabba lanyard. So this is going to be our first raffle prize. This is 3 pins on a lanyard to get your pin game collection going. You'll never catch me, I promise you, but you can try. And so our first prize winner, actually, we should probably bring raffle tickets up, huh? Can somebody bring the tickets up? Yeah, let's do one more go around real quick as I introduce these products. So this is our first product. Now, this is great. This is awesome, but this is just kind of like ink, okay, compared to this last thing. Don't bring that out yet. Last thing. So up next, the video game tournament stuff. Remember, that's worth $20 each, but you could win yourself something worth $500 easily and have a damn fine time in the process. The tournament is at the House Bar and Grill in Arlington, the House Sports Bar and Grill in Arlington, which if you haven't been there, it's the scene of our Wednesday night happy hours where we get stoned on the patio every Wednesday night and have just a damn fine time. And it's really close to the police station, but guess what never seems to happen? They don't show up or give a shit. I guess it's because they're busy fighting actual crime out in the city of Arlington, but we've done this for over a year, every Wednesday, and still it's happening. And so we kind of figured it's a pretty good spot. We're going to have our video game tournament there because it's obviously got a friendly patio, right? So it's a little bit of Colorado and Texas, if you will. So we got 2 of those passes that we're going to raffle off. And then our final item is this wonderful, wonderful water pipe. That's hilarious. Water pipe. Let's just call it what it is, shall we? A bong. This is a wonderful bong donated by one of our so far, our most generous sponsors, 710 Vapors. We got 710 Vapors in the house. Give it up for 710 Vapors. They donated this for our raffle today. This is a $200 piece at any shop in town, if you even find that. You want to come and tell us a little bit about this piece? I mean, this is a dope-ass piece, okay? This is not just some made in China piece of crap.
All right. And where'd you get the short? I don't know who made it, but it's a Tesseract, the inline perk. This is all perk here, so it's going to draw bubble and be some of the smoothest hitting that you can get. Easily convertible into a rig. Easily convertible to a rig. Yep. What? You can smoke out of it.
Okay, we're going to test the action here.
With these water pipes, you never know how much water you put in.
Now that is percolation, my friends. Percolation helps do
That
this
is
stuff.
smooth as it gets right there. Oh yeah. Any sort of domeless, any nail will go right on there. So you can have wax or flowers, 420 and 710, all the same piece. Yeah. And then also we're gonna have a party on the 13th. It's gonna be our 2-year anniversary. We're gonna have live blast flowing, free food, free beer, a whole bunch of giveaways, sales. It's gonna be a blast. If you can, definitely swing through.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, thank you very much. How many people have been to 710 Vapors? Raise your hand. You're down the street. I would strongly suggest checking this shop out. They have some of the finest glass in the North Texas area, some of the best service of smoke shops in the area. And they are by far the most supportive smoke shop in North Texas. They've donated over $2,500 and counting to our organization. Give it up for 710 Vapors. Every prize comes with a Wu-Tang Clan inspired 710 Vapors shirt. So, are we ready to draw for our winners? Who's ready to win something? Lovey, would you please come on up? Oh, you got a ticket in your hand. You can't draw. You're biased. You want to draw? All right. Who wants my son to draw? All right, get up here, kid. Read it into the mic.
7, 2, 2, 5, 1.
Bring it on up here. Bring it on up. Let's see. Compare the numbers. Let's see. 2, 2. That's a winner, guys. We got ourselves a winner. Thank you very much. Here's your lanyard. There you go. And your shirt. Oh, I forgot to mention, the lanyard is important because, granted, not everybody's going to have a fancy laminate. Guess what you do have as a member? A membership card. Lanyard is to put your membership card on to prove that you're a member, just like our friends right here. Show everybody. Hold it up. There you go. Be proud of the fact that you're a member. If I didn't have this, I promise you I'd be wearing my DFW NORML membership out here because I want to wear my pins, damn it. So, all right, everybody give it. You want to say a quick word? Do you win raffles?
I'm starting Richland College NORML. I want to speak to you. I want to collaborate with you.
All right. There we go. All right, give it up for our first winner.
MadSideTrees.com.
Okay, there you go. So, all right, who's ready for the next drawing? All right, up next, we got the T-shirt and the video game tournament entry. Give it up. Let's do it.
6955990.
Say it again. Oh, Matt Dabba. Matt Dabba won it. You want to know what's great about this, actually? He was talking all kinds of smack about not playing in the tournament. Now he's playing in the tournament. No? You're not yet playing? Oh, you're going to give this to somebody? Oh, okay. So he's going to pass on it. He's going to pass on it. So we're going to draw another ticket. Hey, everybody want to give a hand to Matt Dabber for sacrificing his winning ticket? All right, let's draw another one.
Make him put it back in for the other drawing because I know you want that.
Yeah, you want that? Nope, too late.
7, 2, 2, 5, 1, 8, 4.
184. 7225184 is the winning ticket. Do you have it? Are you out there? Ah, excellent. Let's take a look at this. Let me see this. 722. Oh my gosh, that's a winner. We have a winner. Thank you very much. Everybody give him a hand. Take your shirt. You're going to be in the tournament also, right? Okay, so make sure you give your info to her. Okay, so we got a running list of all of our tournament participants. Okay, so we still have one tournament participant left. What is this? What is this? They want to do this one here? Okay. Oh, okay. We have a surprise additional piece available. This is a glass piece from a local glass blower who's a total badass named Ronan. He's on Instagram. What is his Instagram? 8th Ronan something? 7th Ronan on Instagram. Very nice gentleman. I met him at our Lake and Bake event. This is a beautiful piece of glass. I promise you this would not be a cheap piece of glass in any store that you would go to. So this is going to be our next raffle item. Let's draw this ticket, shall we?
Seven, 2, 2, 5, 2, 8, 5.
Where?
Is that yours? What is it? 7225285. Nope, not you. Oh! It's a dope ass shirt. Oh yeah, that's it. That's the one. We got ourselves a winner. Oh, and you're getting a grinder along with it. Everybody can use an herb grinder. Oh, I'm sorry, that's used. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I hope that you don't mind. It's been in my house for a while. I'm sorry. Yeah. All right, so now we've got our last game tournament. Here, let's go ahead and draw this next one. I'm going to draw this one. I'm pulling from the bottom. I'm getting from the bottom now. Let's make this interesting. 7225084. 5084. Going once. Oh, well, you can't win. Well, he's already playing in the video game. No. You definitely can't win that. That's the dry. All right, so he's not winning that. Next ticket, 7225226. Excellent. So Denton North, I plan to win much else. Let me see the ticket. Yeah, all right. We got that one. Got your shirt. And wait, he's supposed to get a 710 shirt too. Yeah, but that Wu-Tang forever. Okay, all right. Finally, wait, is there other stuff? And oh, actually, this is kind of cool. This is cool. Well, this is for. That's not for that. Okay. Okay. Well, so this is just all be one price pack thing. Okay. All right. Okay. So with the flower rig, we're also going to include this little divider pro. It's a silicone puck. Check this out. Peel this off. And it's divided on the inside to keep all your oils separate. Pretty nifty. This is cured medical grade silicone, my friends. This is not cheap shit. Do not carb it. Good. That is an important safety tip. Mason. So we've got this little oil slick that's going to come with it. We've got some Moto Rebel oil slicks that came from a dispensary in Colorado. There's nothing in these, unfortunately, for you. And some sunglasses from the weed stream. This will all be part of this final drawing. Oh yeah, and this is an extractor. This is what you use to turn flour into a felony. Yeah, so it's kind of nerdy. You got to be really into oil to be wanting to do something like that. But I like it. So all right, let's get some applause. Let's get some energy after this final drawing, shall we? Let's get some energy. All right. For the final drawing, Caleb, would you please, from the bottom, please. Let's make this interesting. Everybody, let's get some energy. Come on, keep going.
7225215.
Woo! Oh! The reason this is so good, my friends, is because this man only recently raised his hand and said, damn it, I want to volunteer more, and has been, and now he just won this dope. The universe is just an interesting business. All right, excellent. Congratulations, man. Well deserved. All right, guys, let's make sure if you want a prize today, I want you to come up here after the meeting closes. We're going to get some pictures with our prize winners. Everybody else, thank you very much for coming, for spending your Saturday with us. We really appreciate it. Herb's the word. Please make sure to check out 710 Vapors. They're down the street. Let's hang out, socialize, and we're going to play a little ukulele Prohibition Blues. Thanks again, everybody. Herb's the word.
Okay, I thought I recognized it. Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, who is that?